With a brand new update, hopefully just a few days away, I'm going to see if I can predict the next 10 cards to get added to Merge Tactics. Starting things off, we have the Night Witch. Now, when you look at the cards that they've added to Merge Tactics in the past, so specifically the last 7 cards, you sort of notice a pattern there in that they all have special abilities. Even the Skeleton Dragon, a 2 elixir card, has an ability, which is a duplicate, which is interesting because the past 2 elixir cards they've had, like the Barbarian, the Archer, the Knight, the Goblin, Spear Goblin, none of those cards have abilities. So that sort of tells you that I think the majority of the cards added in the future will have some sort of special ability, regardless of that elixir cost. So that's where I think the Night Witch fits perfectly because, you know, you've seen the Witch being added in the past update where she spawns skeletons. So you know that they're okay with adding these spawner type cards. So the Night Witch, I think her ability could be that after her ability bar charges up, she spawns bats, sort of like how the Witch does, but I think to differentiate her from the Witch, you can maybe make the bats fewer in number, but maybe higher in stats. So like higher in HP or higher in attack, but maybe you could also make them ranged to make them different. And for her traits, I think you can make her Ace plus Avenger, and this works because in the last season, they actually reworked how traits work. So if going from being able to be activated from 3 card synergies, like how you could have 3 assassins and 3 avengers, that's all you needed to activate the trait, now to only being even numbers, so 2 cards, 4 cards, and 6 cards. And if you add 1 card being the Night Witch to the ace, you make 5 aces, so you could simply add a 6 out of 6 ace synergy. And if you add the Night Witch to the Avengers category, then you add 5 Avengers cards, so you could simply just add a 6 out of 6 Avengers synergy, which I think is inevitable for all 4 card synergies. As they keep adding more troops, they're going to have to just expand them to have 6 synergies, and this works because you already have the Noble and Undead traits, which already have 5 cards, and you know that the 5 cards works with the 6 card synergy because you could simply just add a dummy. So the Night Witch could be a single target melee unit that also spawns bats at some time. So I think for that ability, you could maybe make her similar to the Witch, so 4 elixir. And the Night Witch is also a very popular, well-known card. Like all the cards that Clash has added to Merge Tactics have all been sort of similar things. Popular cards, you know, for the most part, like the Witch, the Wizard, the Electro Wizard, the E-Giant, none of these very niche cards like maybe the Rune Giant. Next up, we have the Ice Wizard. Now, in the last update, they actually added a lot of purely 2 trade cards. So they've added the Mage, Electric Fire, and I think the Ice Wiz works perfectly because it sort of aligns with this elemental traits that they've added, being the Fire and the Electric. So why not just add the Ice trait? And you know, they've also added Mage cards being only the Wizard and the Electro Wizard. So you could just simply add the Ice Wizard, finish off that trio of the Mage cards, maybe up the Mage to 2 out of 4 and 4 out of 4 synergies, since I think they're going to push to make those 2 out of 2 synergies align with the rest of the 4 to 4 and 6 out of 6 synergies in the future. And the Ice Wizard just seems like a very natural card. You already have wizards in the game, you have elemental cards in the game, so I think that would be a very easy pick. As for his ability, his normal ability, as you just saw, is he splashes down with the Field of Ice. So I think you can make him sort of similar to the E-Giant, where after his ability bar completes, the E-Giant, of course, will have an area around him that stuns troops. I think you could do a similar thing with the Ice Wizard, that maybe instead of stunning, though, you have this sort of cooldown effect that slows down the movement speed and the attack speed of the cards near you. And for that ability, I think you can make him 3 elixir, similar to the E-Giant. Completing the Ice energy, I think you could add the Ice Golem and make him Ice plus Brawler. Now, if you look at all the current Brawlers in the game, none of them actually satisfy the Brawler purpose fully. You have the Prince, of course, that charges, but his main purpose is not to actually soak up damage as a brawler necessarily, but it's to actually use his charge to sort of isolate specific troops. You also have the Giant Skeleton. He's a brawler, but his main function is to die. So I guess you could argue that they are to sort of distract, soak up damage like that. But I think you can make the Ice Golem the maybe first card to actually just straight up soak up damage, and that's his only task that you want to achieve, not dealing damage like the Bomb or the Prince. You know, with his charged isolate, you could just make him soak up all the damage, make him do like very little damage, and his ability could be similar to in the actual game, where after he dies, he creates a large slowing effect around him that slows down movement speed and that slows down attack speed. And for the actual ice trait, I think you can make it similar to how the electric trait works, where after a certain number of seconds, maybe 8 to 10 seconds, something like that, they'll actually create a huge slowing effect on the entire board, maybe on all the troops. And let's say if troops are already slowed down, so by the Ice Golem's ability or the Ice Wizard's ability, maybe they could actually freeze few seconds that could sort of function similarly to how a stun works. Next up is the Hog Rider. Now, this was a sort of tricky pick for me because I'm not exactly sure why, but the Clash has not given much love to the Hog Rider. Like, I thought the Hog would get an evolution a long time ago since he's one of the most popular OG cards, but he hasn't. So I wasn't sure if they would add him to Merge Tactics because I wasn't sure if they just like forgot about him. But if they do add him to Merge Tactics, I think he's a very easy pick because he's a very popular card. You can make his traits work very well. You could give him Clan plus Assassin. Clan would be upgraded to 5 cards, so that definitely fulfills the 2, 4, 6 synergy. Assassin makes sense as well since his Hog can jump over the other troops. And when I looked at all of the cards that were currently in the Clan synergy, they were all cards very popular OG from Clash of Clans, right? You have the Barb, the Archer Queen, and the Valkyrie, so these are all very popular Clash of Clans cards. And the Hog Rider literally fits in perfectly. There's like no other trait that would fit in better than Clan in my opinion because the Hog Rider's OG, he's from Clash of Clans. That's maybe where everyone initially found out about him. And as for his ability, I'm not exactly sure what they could make him because maybe they could give him a stun, so every few hits, maybe he stuns with this hammer. I guess that can make sense with the hammer, or maybe after he reaches a certain HP threshold, his Hog gets upset or something and he gets enraged and just does faster attack speed, something like that. But because Clan already has 2 cost cards, I would definitely say the Hog Rider should be at least 3 elixir because they don't really want to give too many cheap cards to a specific synergy. So I would probably put him at 3 or maybe even 4 elixir because there's no 4 elixir Clan card, so I think 4 elixir would suit him best. Next up, we have the Goblin Cage, and I think the Goblin Cage's traits could be Goblin plus Building, so they could add a brand new building synergy like how they did last season with the Mage, Electric, and Fire. You know they're comfortable just giving out 2 synergy traits. And as you can see, on regular Clash, his ability could be sort of similar to how that works. So maybe he's placed down as a building, he can't move, but after his building is broken, his cage is broken, he comes out as the actual brawler and is able to freely punch around and do damage. So it's sort of like a passive ability, not like a ability that sort of relies on an ability bar. And this definitely fulfills the Goblin trait as well because that would make it 5 goblins. So you could maybe even add like a 6 out of 6 goblin synergy. I would assume they'd have to do that if they add the Goblin Cage. So I'm not exactly sure how that would work. That would be kind of interesting because the Goblin trait works that the higher synergy you get, the more goblins you unlock. So at the 4 to 4 synergy, you already have access to only the Goblin Machine and the Dark Goblin, the 2 most expensive goblins. So I really am curious to see how they could implement like a 6 out of 6 goblin synergy. Maybe make it so it drops 2 goblins. I don't know. That could be kind of broken, but we'll see. As for his elixir cost, I think he would definitely be either 3 or 4 elixir because of his ability. I would probably make him 3 elixir because I don't think his ability is enough to warrant being a 4 elixir card. Next up, to complete the building synergy, we have the Hidden Tesla, or the Tesla as it's called in Clash Royale. And I think this could definitely work because it completes the building synergy and you also get an electric synergy, which definitely makes sense for the Tesla because you already have that in the game. So maybe they'd have to boost up the electric trait to maybe now 2 out of 2 and 4 to 4 synergies. And I think how the ability could work for this Tesla is similar to how the Archer Queen worked. Now, I thought about this ability for a while. I don't think it would make sense for him to just get underground when he's not being used because I think most cards in Merge Tactics are always in battle at some sort. So that ability would be kind of useless if he was just to go underground while he's not attacking because I feel like he would just always be attacking. So I thought he could be similar to the Archer Queen's ability in the sense that after he reaches a certain HP threshold, maybe he goes underground, makes the other troops target, and maybe he gets a little stat boost. Maybe that being a heal for HP, more damage, I'm not sure, something like that. And for that ability, I'd probably make him 3 elixir. Okay, next up is the Phoenix. Now, this might be my biggest gamble pick of the entire list, but when I looked through all the cards to pick these evolutions, I immediately ruled out, I would say, most buildings, like the Goblin Hut, of course, Barbell wouldn't work. Also, the Spirits, they wouldn't work. And I tried looking for a lot of cards that sort of had synergies with each other, and I noticed one group in particular, that being the Phoenix Monk and the Magic Archer. Now, they all look, I don't know if I could say this, but they all look sort of Asian. Like, maybe they're from, like, Chinese culture. Like, of course, the Phoenix, I'm pretty sure is from... Actually, I don't know if the Phoenix is from Chinese culture. Yeah, I don't think it is, but there's like a dragon in Chinese culture. I don't know. That might be like, I'm Asian, so I could say that. But there's the monk as well, which I'm pretty sure is like Asian based. And of course, the Magic Archer, he says, I'm pretty sure he talks Chinese. Like I watched this like TikTok reel or something and said the Magic Archer actually speaks Chinese when he like lands. So I was like, oh wait, that could actually work with at least the monk. So I think those 3 cards have some synergy. Look, the Phoenix, I don't think is from Chinese culture. So I mean, it's not, but It's a bird. It's a red bird. That's a huge thing in their culture. I think with the dragon, so it could make sense. Also, the phoenix was added at the same time as the monk. I don't know if that means anything. But the phoenix could be fire and ancient trait, which I think, I don't know, the ancient is sort of like, the synergy between the monk, the magic archer, and the phoenix. And his ability could be very similar to how it works in the real game. After he dies, he just pops down, goes into an egg, and then maybe that gives him a little bit of a brief time for the other troops to retarget other troops. So maybe that gives gives time to the phoenix to actually maybe pop up out of his shell and respawn into a phoenix if he doesn't die or his egg isn't broken within a few seconds. And for that ability, I'd probably make him 3 elixir. Next up, we have the monk. Now the monk could be that ancient trait plus brawler, I think. So that would maybe complete the brawler to have 6 cards now. And this guy is actually Chinese, so this one works for sure. And I think I had 2 choices for his ability. You could either have his first passive ability in game where he knocks back the other troops every, I think it's 3 hits, or his actual ability that works in game with the champion where after you click his ability, he actually deflects or he reflects all of the attacks for a few seconds. So I think I'll go with the second ability. And I'll say that after he reaches a certain HP threshold, like with the Archer Queen, after maybe around half HP, he actually goes into that focus mode where he just deflects every single attack on him for maybe a few seconds, like 4 seconds, 5 seconds. So he actually does all that damage back to the opponents, a certain percentage of it. And I think the monk actually makes a lot of sense because in the last update, they didn't actually make any extra 5 cost cards or any champions, but I think just having a 4th champion in this next update definitely makes sense in terms of like proportion wise to the rest of the pool, because now there's not that many champions right now compared to all the other cards. So I think adding a 4th champion definitely just makes sense for 5 elixir. And lastly, to round out that ancient trio, we have the magic archer. I think this one makes sense because the magic archer, I'm pretty sure he speaks Chinese, as I've mentioned. So maybe he could be like a ranger plus like ancient trait, and his attack would be sort of similar to how the executioner works. It would pierce through. So you know how the executioner, as he attacks, his ability isn't actually like one that relies on an ability bar. It's that his attack is different. His attack actually pierces and comes back towards him as the axe that he throws or whatever it's called. So I think the magic archer could be similar in the sense that his arrow will just pierce completely through, but it won't come back, obviously. So I think it could be ranger as well, because as his attack speed ramps up, he'll just start shooting way faster, keep piercing opponents. So I think he could be a very strong card. And for that ability, I would also make him 3 elixir. But finally, to round out the list, we have the Dark Prince. Now, I was sort of debating between the E-Drag and the Dark Prince because I wasn't sure. I thought they would be really good candidates both. Of course, the E-Drag is pretty obvious. You have the electric trait, but I was actually not sure what to make the second one because I didn't really see any other traits that sort of related to the E-Drag. So that's why I settled with the Dark Prince. I think the Dark Prince is a very easy troop to pick. He has the Ace trait and the Juggernaut trait, and I think the Juggernaut trait makes sense because he actually has a shield, so that would probably allow him to shield up other cards. And I think how his ability would work is that it would be sort of more passive, I guess, like the other cards. He has a shield that after, he can soak up some damage. After that shield pops, maybe it could maybe knock back cards around him or do some sort of stun maybe to make that shield a bit more useful, because I mean, just having a shield, I guess, wouldn't really make that much sense in merge tactics, I feel like. So I think that's how his ability could work. Other than that, I think he would be single target. Maybe he could be like a bit of splash, like how the Skeleton King works, where it sort of splashes a little bit, it pierces through. So maybe something like that. And for his ability, I think you can make him a 3 elixir or a 4 elixir card.